What is up, guys? Doing another one down solo. Today I'm doing transport downtown. This has been giving me some marginal trouble, more so than the other transport heists. This one in Crossroads had kind of been a little more difficult. That's alright. I changed my loadout ever so slightly. Ran through some different types of weapons and so forth. I'm not going to be using the C4 this time around. The medic charges were too, well, not entirely necessary, but it made this run a lot less aggravating. So instead of running Rogue, I'm running Suited Anarchist instead. So, although in moments where Dodge might save me, there are also some moments where the Suited Anarchist kind of helps me a bit more. Even though I had an early down here, it's quite alright. I kind of figured I would. There's a lot of cops in this first area, and I'm okay with taking it down if I can get all the drills down and then take up position in one of the buildings. Suited Anarchist was pretty fun to run with. I've been playing around with it quite a bit, and it's definitely really usable. Just as much as Dodge, I would say. They just have different purposes. Of course, I'm using a a poison light crossbow instead of a regular crossbow. The reason I'm doing that is so I can shoot enemies pretty much anywhere in their hitbox and kill them from it. Don't have to aim for the head necessarily, although it does take a little bit for the poison to do so. It allows me to shoot enemies, let's say for example, if I'm in Swan Song and there's a whole bunch of enemies in a hallway. If I sit in the hallway, there's a good chance I'm going to go into fatal mode from the enemies just shooting at me while I'm going down. So instead what I'll do is I'll shoot the poison crossbow at a few enemies while my Swan Song is just about to end, and then I will, well yeah, the poison will kill them, but I'll move myself behind cover with my spare little bit of time, and it'll allow me to get a Messiah charge. So it's pretty useful in that regard. And coupled with the Anarchist stuff, you know, the 2-second invulnerability grace period, being able to take a handful of extra shots on my armor every now and again if enemies are a good distance away and the damage fall off is calculated appropriately, and so on and so forth. I just have to keep an eye on it. It didn't really take a whole lot of getting used to using this build. I mean, just some minor adjustments to my normal playstyle. Of course, I'm still bringing the saw so I can open up the deposit boxes inside the trucks really quickly. I did have auto restarting drills, and thankfully I did get 2 auto restarting drills while I was doing this, so I didn't need to go down and try to repair drills as well. So I was just going to wait until both drills were finished, and then I was going to go down and open up the deposit boxes. Trying to aim at the enemies that were interrupting the drill, so I could kind of keep them off of it and prevent them from stopping it nearly as much, so I wouldn't have to wait as long. Of course, one minor weakness with this weapon setup is I don't have a super effective way of dealing with shields, other than hoping my converts kill them, or using, you know, pretty standard methods of waiting until the shield stops moving, strafing around to their side, and then killing them when they don't have 100% tracking, because shields do have 100% tracking while they're moving. So, of course, if you're facing a wall of shields, it can then be a little a little difficult, but a lot of times you just want to kind of escape from those situations anyway. One drill getting close to completion, the other one still had a little bit of time left on it. Throwing the concussion grenade not so I could jump down there, but so I could aim at the enemies that were interrupting that drill. Getting bullied by a few shields. My 2-second grace period had kind of saved me, but then I got shot as I was running past, and my more minuscule amount of health, I guess you could say, from Anarchist kind of let me get obliterated, but that's okay. One thing I really did like about using Suited Anarchist and caused me to think I might use it a little bit more in the future for certain runs is the fact that it allowed me to be hyper-aggressive for, you know, a handful of seconds, and then, you know, followed by playing it pretty safe for, you know, 15 or so seconds while the cooldown period of my invulnerability would recharge. So since both drills were, well, one drill was completed and the other one was getting near completion, I decided to go ahead and move down here while the assault wave was kind of fading out so I could get the escape triggered. Wasn't too surprised that I took it down. I was pretty much anticipating it. Got knocked away from the medic bag, but thankfully, invulnerability grace period saved me, so I could hit it without getting annihilated. Got shot up as I was jumping into the truck, that's alright. Again, I just wanted to go ahead and try to get the escape triggered. I wasn't paying too much attention when Bane said that he was sending a helicopter, so I throw at least one of these bags towards the building that I shouldn't have. But that was because I wasn't sure which way or which escape he was sending, because like I said, I wasn't paying that much attention. At the moment, I was a little more concerned with the fact that I was downed and didn't see any immediate enemies I could messiah off of. Yeah, I think this was the bag I started moving to the other building. This actually ended up working out for me here in a bit, though. It was right about here that I heard the voice line for the helicopter pop up again. Yeah. And then I realized, like, oh, that's bile. Never mind. And started throwing the bags over here. Of course, I just left that bag over there because worst case scenario, enemies were just going to move it a little bit into the building. And so, of course, I could just take the walkway across. But as I'm moving bags up this staircase, enemies start to come in from the above hallway, I'm assuming from the other building. They spawned over there and went across the walkway is what I'm assuming happened, given the amount of time that passed before I actually ran into groups of enemies. So, I was just trying to shoot at this guy while I was, like, bolting down the staircase. A few more enemies start coming out, and I'm hoping my converts would start following me up the staircase, but they were taking their due sweet time. Of course, threw the concussion grenade so I could get that bag that the enemy was taking. Sniper got me. One of the biggest banes of anarchist builds of all types are definitely snipers, since they don't care about your invulnerability grace period and they just say, screw you. Thankfully, though, I got a what do you call it? You know, feign death, yeah. But I had hit the sniper with that last bolt anyway, so I would have been able to get a messiah off of him anyway because of the poison killed him. I thought that bag was going to fall, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. But it counted, as you can see there, from the money bag counter that popped up. Threw the concussion grenade to cover myself. Then dashed like a madman over here. Let my armor regen just for a few seconds. Enough to get a little bit back up that I could take a far away shot or two before running across. As this dozer got closer, I was like, hey, you know what, we're just gonna go. Thankfully, I put the bag in at the base of the stairwell, so it was already in a pretty convenient location. Some dozers coming down the way. Even though the poison crossbow does take a little bit to kill dozers, it's actually a pretty efficient dozer killing tool, so long as you have enough distance between you and the dozer and you don't need them to die immediately. It's probably the only issue with the poison crossbow is there's a little bit of a lack of immediate killing. I was sort of worried the snipers were going to get me. Managed to get here, my little hidey spot, before well, that sniper got me anyway, didn't he? Moved up a little bit so the sniper wouldn't get me. I can't remember if he gets me again. Yeah, he does. Lined up my shot just to be on the safe side, and then I said, never mind. Managed to get the shield kill. Was spamming my spacebar, so that's why I leapt through the air. Taser got me. Vulnerability grace period kept me from dying. It's pretty neat. Hit the medbag one last time, just to be on the safe side. Chucks the bag in. That's all there was to it. Except I also had to do a little escape after this, which wasn't a big deal. I ended up getting cafe escape, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I got cafe escape, which is probably my least favorite escape out of all the escapes in the history of ever. It's awful. I really don't feel like there's any extraordinarily efficient place to hide, so I switched to a contractor build. One of the ones I've used a few times for solo one-down runs. I know there's a quote-unquote hiding spot over by the actual cafe where you can hide behind the railing that kind of surrounds the cafe area. However, enemies can shoot you from over top of it, so I'm not a super big fan of it. Instead, I came over here, so at the very least, enemies couldn't approach me from behind, and any enemies that were shooting at me could only shoot at me from directly in the front. So, didn't leave me a lot of room to run around, clearly, but...
That sucks. Someone got a medic bag.
Ran over here to try to get away from the enemies that were spawning there, except, you know, I just ran into more enemies, which happens. Wanted to go ahead and try to grab another convert. Or grab a convert. Crappy medbag spot, but, you know. Wanted to go ahead and get myself charged up.
Drop it now! Drop the gun! Drop it! Drop the gun! Hands up!
That particular enemy was being kind of ornery. Wouldn't stick his hands up. It moved a few of my bags, but that's okay. I didn't move him very far, so I wasn't too worried about it.
We got a shield!
I was actually shooting the shield so the medic would stop shooting at me, because he would be in his he would be in his healing friend animation. So I just took that time to shoot the medic a little bit, so I could not have to worry about him and the shield shooting at me. That way, it'd just be the shield. And shields really don't do that much damage anyway, because they usually only pack a low-powered SMG or a pistol. So. At that distance, the shield probably, or I figured the shield wasn't going to eviscerate me.
a shield! 30 seconds now. Get ready. Shield inbound!
My impeccable accuracy. That was terrible. Missed him 3 times before I hit him. Oh well, it happens.
Taser spotted! Taser, stay back!
Honestly felt like
Look out! Taser! Taser eliminated!
this hiding spot was a bit better than the cafe spot.
I'm in the pickup. Hurry up!
But, of course, you know, it's a bit farther from the escape. Had to move all the bags over there because it is required that you secure all the bags for the escapes on transport if you get them. So converts were killing enemies as they were rappelling down the building. Made it a little bit easier on me. Tried to hide behind this, or in front of this semi to let my armor regen, but really couldn't go anywhere. This is just getting shot up from every direction.
We got a shield!
An invisible gun. That's cool.
Shield eliminated! Shield inbound! Shield down! Medic bag deployed! We got a shield! Hands up!
I don't really try to take cover from here on. I just kind of fight against the enemies in a slugfest, just trying to beat out the timer, because I am on a 4-minute timer at this point, and I just want to get out of here as fast as possible. So definitely not. How does one say? I'm not quite sure how one would say. I was gonna say not playing like an intelligent person, but I mean, I ended up making it, so it's okay. Taser caught me. Hit the med bag so I could heal up before I ran over, in the hopes that my converts would take most of the heat for me on the way over here, and I would only have to deal with a little bit of health damage.
I need a medic bag! Drop it now! Taser spotted! Look out! Taser! Taser eliminated! Shield down! Dog! On your knee! Fire in the hole!
Have to run over to one of my previous med bags. And Dodge said, yeah, it's okay, you can get over there and actually hit the med bag if you want to today. And I was like, okay, thanks Dodge, I appreciate it. Throw a concussion grenade to cover myself, except I get shot in the process of getting to cover, so it doesn't matter. Trying to prevent those guys from taking the bags. Went ahead and secured these two since they were so close.
Fire in the hole! Give me a medic bag! Here! Drop it now! Drop the gun!
Got a feign death, so I just kept pushing bags. At this point, I figured if I could throw the remainder of these bags in, get them aside, and then jump into the escape zone, I'd probably be good to go. I missed that one bag. Thankfully, there was a shield over there, but I messied again, or not messied, feign death again. It's okay. Didn't mind going into Swan Song here since I was going to be able to get into the escape zone with plenty of time. And that's all there was to it. So that was transport downtown, along with an escape. And, yeah, really was kind of aggravating. Anyway, thank you so much for watching.